next session on interventions in heart failure. In this context, I would like to call upon Professor Dr. N.N. Khanna, a senior consultant interventional cardiologist from Indraprastha Apollo Hospital. Then Dr. T. Sundar is a consultant cardiac surgeon from Apollo Hospital, Chennai. Then Dr. Aziz Khan is an interventional cardiologist and director of Crescent Hospital and Heart Center, Nagpur. And Dr. Satyanarayan, Professor Dr. Satyanarayan Rautrai, Professor and Head of the Department of Cardiology, SCB Medical College, Cuttack. Over to chairpersons, please.
I am Dr. Sundar. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my close friend, Dr. Ullas Pandurangi, electrophysiologist from the Madras Medical Mission, who is going to talk on the status of devices in the current era of heart failure with a lot of evolutionary.
Thank you, everyone. Dr. Sundar, Dr. Mahapatra, and everyone, esteemed chairpersons, and the other colleagues who have logged in. We just heard from Dr. Venugopal that the devices have a very limited role in the heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. So let's look at now the status of devices with respect to the congestive heart failure, low ejection fraction in the current era of drug revolution. The latest congestive heart failure management guidelines have included ARNI and SGLT2 inhibitors as class 1 agents based on latest and robust evidence. However, the latest guidelines, when they recommend the devices, they still are falling upon the evidence which is considerably old and could be also considered obsolete at times. So there's a mismatch when you look at the recommendations by the guidelines with respect to the devices. They are not updated. What do the latest guidelines say with respect to the congestive heart failure when it comes to drugs? We have, in the last 3 years, several of the societies, heart failure societies, cardiology societies, for example, Australia and New Zealand societies of cardiology, heart failure. 2021 ACC came up with its own update of the 2017 recommendations. 2021 ESC guidelines came, both acute chronic heart failure, even also on devices. For a while, if you do not concentrate on the devices recommendations, concentrate only on the drugs, all these societies, all these guidelines strongly recommend ARNI or ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, MRAs, SGLT2 inhibitors as the class 1 agents to start off with congestive heart failure patients with, of course, low ejection fraction and may or may not be diuretics depending upon the necessity. Not only that, they recommend all those fantastic 4 drugs to be started. The guidelines, or at least some of the experts, rushes through the whole process. They would like us to start all of those drugs almost simultaneously from word go. So such is the strong recommendation. And really, it is very difficult to find fault with these guidelines and the experts who ask us to be rapidly implementing all 4 of them. It's because their statements and the guidelines are based on robust evidence. However, if you concentrate on the recommendations by these guidelines when it comes to the devices, they are recommending the same way like what they have been recommending for the last 12 to 15 years. The recommendations with respect to the devices and the management of the heart failure, they remain almost the same. Either it is for the CRT pacing or a CRT defibrillator or the ICDs, whether it is for a primary prevention or the secondary prevention. The device guidelines have not changed. For example, 2021, what they did with respect to the CRT, they probably made little more scrutiny and then they tried to subclassify the strength of the recommendation. They started giving to less and less to some of those where the benefit was not so great. That's all the modification they did. And all these modifications and the recommendations have been based, of course, on a very good data, but then that data was accumulated. At the most, the latest was in 2010. So many things have happened after 2010. It's not that the CRT was not shown beneficial. More than 20,000 patients across at least 12 major trials, randomized trials, have shown without any question the benefit of the CRTs with respect to the quality of life and in many situations improvement in the survival as well. But all those guidelines are based on the trials conducted before 10 to 12 years. So there are no contemporary device trials with the contemporary drugs which have been included in the guidelines, specifically the ARNI and the SGLT2 inhibitors. Similarly, when it comes to the prevention of sudden cardiac death with the aid of the devices, the latest one, for example, 2021, if you look at it, the recommendations either for the primary prevention or even for the secondary prevention have remained the same for the last 10 years. And those guidelines have been based on the trials which were conducted in the late 1990s and early 2000. So nothing beyond 2005 has been added into the consideration. So what I would like to say that the latest guidelines regarding device therapy require modifications, and they should include the impact of ARNI and SGLT2 inhibitors on the course of the CHF. Meaning, what is the impact of these two new drugs which have been recommended as a class 1 agents, their effect on the reduction of sudden cardiac death, their effect on ventricular remodeling, their effect on all-cause and heart failure mortality. If you go by the evidences, for example, paradigm with the against the ARNI against enalapril, there was a trend with respect to ARNI in preventing sudden cardiac deaths. And overall mortality significantly was reduced. I think everybody knows about this landmark trial, a significant reduction when you look at the enalapril versus the ARNI. There are many mechanisms which have been attributed for the success of the ARNI. Sacubitril alone or with valsartan has been shown to increase the cardiac myocyte contractility, reduce apoptosis, reduce hypertrophy, etc. Basically, positive remodeling has been consistently shown whenever ARNI was used, which would probably help in bringing down the need for the cardiac resynchronous therapy and in some ways to bring down the need for the defibrillator. Similarly, there are n number of mechanisms which have been quoted to support the benefit of the SGLT2 inhibitors in the management of congestive heart failure. If you look at the cardiovascular benefits specifically, there are as many as 18 they have been quoted. Every single mechanism which will preserve the contractility, which will help the positive remodeling, could have some element of the benefit by the SGLT2 inhibitors. And if you look at the total mortality, which includes sudden cardiac death and heart failure mortality, if you look at the meta-analysis, including the DAPA-HF and EMPEROR reduced, I think it has been convincing that they do a good job with respect to the reduction in mortality. So I think it's time to change guidelines. And I would like to conclude that the ARNI and the SGLT2 inhibitors, along with the other guideline-directed medical therapeutic agents, have shown benefits which have not been incorporated in the current guidelines for the device therapy in heart failure. If GDMT using ARNI and SGLT2 inhibitors are practiced, I think significantly lesser number of congestive heart failure patients may require devices. Changes in the guidelines shall be very relevant to our clinical practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pandurangji, for your lucid presentation. And very short, you explained how the drugs are going to change not only the mortality benefits, but sudden cardiac death. I think there is no definite role at present of device therapy in diastolic heart failure. They are more experimental. In the time to come, we may get some devices like LV decompression device, LV expanders, LA pacing. They are all theoretical at present. Maybe in future we may see these devices. We'll have more discussion on this.